John Sfakianakis is chief economist at Banque Saudi Fransi, as well as Crédit Agricole's chief economist for the Middle East and North Africa. He's on the phone from Riyadh. John, hi again. Thanks for joining us.
Hi.
John, you were telling us at the end of our last chat about how you've downgraded your assessment of the economy on a numeric level from quite a healthy level of around 5% to what? We're talking around the 3% now?
Well, we're talking around 3.7, but we have to wait and see, because if this is a long-term crisis, definitely the economy is not going to be growing by a lot at all. There's
some huge risks, John, and I suppose the longer this crisis continues, the more likely you are to reduce your GDP forecast. I mean, how worried are you about the response of foreign investors from this point?
I'm very worried, Mark, because the Egyptian economy was doing very well. The headline figures were very auspicious for the last 5 years. The economy was growing at around 6 to 7%. FDI was very, very good. And so it was really a tiger. And the money was flowing in. The tourists were going to Egypt. The numbers looked good. And the stock market was getting very buoyant. So now it's the reversal of all these things. The longer this crisis goes on, and the longer the leadership has a disconnect with society and the street in Cairo and the rest of Egypt, then this is going to be very bad news for the economy.
But Egypt isn't going to have problems with its ability to borrow, or is it? I mean, if we get further ratings downgrades, that could boost borrowing costs. We're not going to approach a critical point on that front, are we?
You're right. It's just that they will have to manage in a different way. The budget deficit is going to increase to maybe this year 80% of GDP, and certainly the budget deficit is going to increase in the double-digit figures. It was estimated to be at 8%. This year, I have increased my estimate now to 12%, and we will wait and see. But for sure, the IMF will have to step in, the EU, and probably other Gulf states to fiscally support the Egyptian economy.
What about, we've talked a lot about contagion, John, and what's your view on that? I mean, what are the real risks of, Egypt? It started with Tunisia, it's at Egypt now. What are the real risks of this moving from one nation to another in the region?
It's a very good question, Mark. I don't think that we're going to see another country falling immediately, but this is a severe wake-up call for everybody. Everybody in the Middle East will have to think how they manage their economies. They cannot be complacent. Certainly, a country like Saudi Arabia, which is sitting on $440 billion of foreign assets, their per capita GDP is at $16,000 versus Egypt's, which is $2,600. Quality of life is much, much better in Saudi Arabia, as well as in the other states of the Gulf, are more protected. They have greater buffers to distribute more carrots to their people if there is a need. But they're not totally isolated. Everybody is waking up to what is happening. And certainly in the whole Middle East, everybody is waking up to the fact that people are no longer as fearful of regimes and governments as they used to before.
John, thanks for chatting to us. We'll speak to you again soon. John Sfakianakis there, speaking to us live from Riyadh.